Hi, everyone. Welcome to our July release First Look webinar. We're going to get started in just a minute, but before we do, just be aware that all of our attendees are in listen-only mode, and we're going to be taking questions at the end of our presentation. So you should see a Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom webinar window. So go ahead and write questions in that box throughout the demo, and we will answer them at the end of our presentation. So this is a first look at our July product release. You may have already seen some of these updates and gotten some email communications, but we wanted to give you a first look and demo overview. And as I mentioned, take some questions from you at the end. This release is coming to your SpringCM environment on July 6th, so be on the lookout for it. I'm going to pass it over to our product manager, Gustavo, who's going to be walking you through the demo today.
Great, thanks, Christy. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to this webinar. It's really a pleasure to be hosting it. I'm Gustavo Bettinger. This is what I look like. I'm a senior product manager here at SpringCM. I've been with the company, it'll be coming up a year soon. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be celebrating my 1-year anniversary. So here's the agenda. We're gonna go through some demos of the main features that we're putting out with this release. You might have already seen some of this in UAT. And as Christy mentioned, this is gonna be live in production next Friday. And then at the end, we're gonna take some questions. Feel free to submit the questions as we go. Christy's gonna compile them, and then we'll address those at the end. So let's jump right in to our demos. So the first feature I wanted to talk about is our redesigned admin experience. So you guys may have been seeing now some new UI throughout the site, including the new navigation that we put out a few releases ago. So we decided to tackle admin next. So what you're gonna see here is a brand new navigation on the left panel, and some new pages, redesigned pages as well. And really, why are we doing this? Ultimately, the value that we're trying to create here is a word that I would say efficiency, right? It's helping admins find what they're looking for more quickly and configure their accounts in a more intuitive way, right? So one of the ways that we did that was by organizing various pages into logical groupings, right? So you got automation tools, documents and folders, user management, account management, and integrations. So that's one of the primary things we did, was just reorganize that content. And in some cases, we also cleaned up some pages. So what used to be the account preferences kind of general page has become now this new account settings page. So this is the new default that you're gonna see. One of the nice things that we did here was create a section for beta features. So it's one place that you can go to enable or disable all of the beta features that you want on the account for your users. And another really important thing we did is we split out, because that general page was pretty big. So we split out document and folder settings into its own page as well. So you'll see there's a little tab here for documents, folders, and that's where you're gonna see these options now. One other really nice usability thing we did, there's a fixed save and cancel button at the bottom. So that's like a really nice feature there. Not every page has been redesigned, but we're working through each page. So over the next several releases, you're gonna start seeing the new UI design throughout the admin. One thing that I'll point out here is that we really took into consideration a lot of feedback from customers through our SpringCM Labs partnership. So that's a great way to get input, and our design team did a great job going through some usability exercises with many customers to really figure out the best way to organize this content, and we hope that you like it. I'll also note this is being deployed to all the SpringCM accounts, so there's no beta or opt-in process necessary here. I'll move on to the next feature, and related to admin as well. is we're introducing now this new workflows page. And why did we do this? So we really felt that in the past, workflows, there was a workflows page that kind of combined the end user experience with the admin. So we really wanted to create a more clear distinction between that admin functionality and then end user functionality. So now we've created a page as a dedicated environment to allow admins to more easily configure and monitor workflows. In addition, we also put in a few nice little things here to improve the debugging of your workflow configurations and also to facilitate resolving issues more quickly. So you'll find this, again, this kind of tabbed design for workflow activity and workflow configuration. There's a nice big button here for new workflow that lets you create new advanced workflows or approval workflows if that's something that you have enabled in your account. And so this is where you're gonna see all of those workflow definitions, those workflow configurations that you've created. You can manually start workflows here just by clicking Start Workflow. This will even let you put in choose a document or some custom XML parameters as input incoming content on your workflows. So that's a really nice debugging feature there that we think you guys are really gonna enjoy. And hopefully will save a lot of time in your debugging of workflows. You'll also be able to download workflows directly from here. So this basically will download the workflow configuration file, which can be uploaded when a new workflow is created. So you can upload that configuration file and it'll basically replicate your entire workflow configuration. We think this is going to be a really great way to also facilitate customer support. So you can attach these configuration files in your customer support tickets that will really help get to resolution much faster. And finally, I'll address the activity tab here. So the activity tab is what was previously known as the process monitor. Here you will see all of the activity, all of the instances of workflow activity in your account. And we put in some really nice filters at the top where you can choose the workflow, you can choose the date range, including a custom date range here. You can choose various statuses of the workflow and apply those. And you now see a filtered list. You can kind of see what's on the grid here as well. You can do a quick search. So after you've applied filters, you can filter even further by doing some quick searches here on that grid. So some really nice features here to help monitor workflow activity. Again, this whole workflows experience is going to be available to all SpringCM accounts. There's no beta or opt-in process necessary anymore. The workflows page, I should note, is also generally accessible only to admins, but we do have this feature called permission sets, where you could set up a permission set to allow full subscribers to have access to some of your workflow and automation tools. And in fact, you can set it up to give them any level of admin capabilities as well. So if you have full subscribers that need to be able to configure workflows, you can easily do that using permission sets. Okay, let's go on to the next feature. And this really actually goes hand in hand with workflow. So as I mentioned, we wanted to create a more clear distinction between admin and end user. You know, we built this nice interface for admins. What was left to do was the end user experience as well. And here we really wanted something much cleaner, more intuitive to the end user, so that finding and completing tasks would happen more quickly. So I'll highlight some of the functionality here. It's largely the same as the old workflow inbox, with a few kind of bells and whistles that we threw in there. So it shouldn't be a dramatic change to your end users, except for the much nicer UI that you see, and much nicer screens and design. So you've got your task list on the left panel. All tasks are aggregated here. My tasks. If you're in a queue, you would see all your queue tasks. And if you're managing users, you can also see all the tasks that are assigned to your managed users. As an admin, you can even configure the grid. So you can customize the grid columns here. So only admins today are able to customize those columns. And whatever configuration you have will apply to every list that the user can see. We also made it a lot easier to, if you're managing users or if you're in your queue, we have this functionality around claiming or reassigning or unassigning tasks. So if you want to take advantage of that, now there's a nice little manage button here that will basically allow you to do that. So you can see I've got some managed users. I could claim this task for myself. And now that becomes my task. There's also some, you can see here some additional, these filters here are by workflow. So you can break down your tasks and see them by individual workflows. That's actually a functionality that if you don't want your users to have, you can hide, because sometimes it could be a little bit more confusing. So if it's not helpful to your users in the admin settings, you can hide those additional nodes. You can also set the minimum role required to see this task action. So if that's, again, something that you don't want your end users to see, you can limit that to just admins. And then admins can kind of manage the assignment and reassignment of tasks as needed. The other nice feature here that we added is some additional filtering capabilities. So if you want to look at something by workflow, you can easily do that and just hit apply, and you would see that filtered list here. Okay, and also you can search by the info column. As before, there's grid search. So you can just type here and it'll search whatever is on the grid at that point in time. So some really nice things happening here on the tasks page. This is an area where task management more broadly is an area where we're going to continue to invest development resources in. We really want to improve the filtering capabilities, especially if you have a lot of tasks to manage. That's something that we want to improve on. We want to enhance the concept of queues, which is really just the idea of working in teams, right? And how tasks can be shared and monitored within queues. So that's something that I'm spending some good amount of time on as well. So that covers the tasks page, and you can see how this the new design patterns are starting to apply across the site, not just on admin, but also on the end user side. And one question that you might have is, where is the toolbar ribbon, right? So some of the older pages here, like documents, still have this toolbar ribbon. And this is used both to put in some kind of quick, quick links for system actions, as well as custom actions. So things that may launch Doc Launcher or start a workflow, or go to an e-form, or even just go to a URL. So we had that level of customization. And many of those actions were put on the toolbar just because it was easy to do. So we thought really hard about how we were going to replace the toolbar and relocate actions in the new design. And one thing that we came up with is this new actions menu at the top. So we put this out last release. And started kind of promoting this functionality. So the idea really here is that global actions, so meaning actions that don't require users to make grid selections, would be placed on this new actions menu. And that actions menu would be in every single page of the site. So it'd be really easy for users to get to. So it's a much more efficient way of putting actions across the site for the users. Now there are going to be some some actions that still require grid selection, and those we would handle by these redesigned toolbar menus. But what I'm calling global actions are those that don't require any selections on the grid, and that would make sense to put at kind of that global navigation level. So what we did here is create this actions menu, and this is there's a way to configure that in admin. You can see here, and as a result, we really wanted to facilitate the migration of custom actions from the toolbar to this actions menu. And we created this legacy custom actions report to help with that. So what the legacy custom action report gives you, there's some really nice explanation here around how we're moving forward. But what it gives you is it gives you a snapshot of custom actions as they exist on your account in the legacy pages. So by legacy, I mean the pages that are not yet redesigned in the new form. So you can see here, for example, how I have a few custom actions that are on the documents page. You can even see which menu it's under and whether or not it was added to the toolbar as well. So that's for the account default. If you have settings for different personas in the account, you will also then see what custom actions were available to different personas here as well. Right, and you can see, I think that this persona had one more custom action than these guys. So what do you do with this information? We already actually migrated all the custom actions that exist in your account to this page, but we kept it off by default. So we really wanted to give admins control of what was being turned on for the actions menu. So you don't have to come in and recreate all these actions. So you can see this one, for example, launches dock launcher configuration here. So you don't have to come in and recreate it, but you do have to turn it on. So if you want to enable, let's say, these 3 actions here for the account default, you simply select those and click save. If you want to configure for different personas, you're going to see your list of personas here. You can configure these actions differently. So let's say I want to turn this one off for that persona. So initially, the personas will inherit the account default until you make some edit at the persona level. And then from that point on, the persona has its own configuration. As an admin here, I now can see all of my global custom actions at the top. So that's really what the legacy custom actions report is intended for, is to help facilitate the migration of custom actions to the new actions menu. And I would say this is a pretty critical thing for admins to do as we go through each page of the site. So we already tackled tasks, so that's been redesigned. So if you had custom actions on that toolbar that your users are relying on, you will need to move that over to the actions menu. We're going to continue tackling other pages. So documents is still a little bit a ways from now, but over the next several months, we really want to make sure that you guys are aware of this change and that you're migrating your custom actions to the new actions menu, because the new documents page will not have this toolbar available. So I'm going to move on then to our next feature, and this is around reports. So we've been investing a lot of time and resources on reporting. Primarily workflow reports is an area that we've focused on. And what we wanted to do here is expose a lot of the valuable reporting that we've created up to now just for admins, but expose that to end users as well, but allow admins to control who has access to what, right? So this really gives you the ability to secure your report data. And so I'll show you what that permissions looks like. So already, you're probably familiar if you looked at workflow reports, the filters tab here, which allows you to filter that report. There's a new tab now for permissions. You'll see that by default, super admins and user admins have all of the available permissions on the report, which are view, edit, and export. But if you want to add full subscribers to this list, you can add them individually, or you can add security groups and apply whatever permissions you want to those users. You can then save this report, workflow details. I'll just call this custom workflow details. And now all of those users will have access to that custom workflow details report under this custom workflow reports folder here. So that's what the permissions are allowing you to do. This again is going to be enabled on all SpringCM accounts. There's no beta or opt-in process necessary. And I also just want to let you guys know reporting is an area where we're really investing significant development resources into. So you're going to be seeing a lot of really great stuff coming in the next few releases, next several releases, in fact, including charts, some more graphical representations of reporting, and a completely revamped document reports capability. So we're really excited to show that to you when that's ready. I think, let's see. Oh, there's one more. Okay. A lot of stuff coming this release. All right. So last thing is Doc Launcher. So we've often, for accounts that have a lot of templates, you know, one point of feedback that we've heard many times is like, I really need a way for my users to manage large number of templates and be able to filter down the templates based on attributes, right? So what we did here is we created a new form of filtering for Doc Launcher templates. So I will show you what that looks like. Oh, I shouldn't actually note, this is something that is in beta, in fact, unlike all the other stuff I showed you. So if you go here again to this account settings page, make sure that you have this Doc Launcher experience, this beta Doc Launcher experience turned on. And so then this will be enabled, this functionality. Okay, so let me show you how you guys would configure this. So you can click on the configuration. And you'll see this button for configure filters, okay? So what can you add as a filter? Basically anything, any metadata or attributes, any drop-down attributes are gonna show up here. So whatever you have predefined as drop-down attributes in your account will appear here. So one very basic example might be, I want to be able to filter templates by language or currency, you know, contract signer, sales rep. So you can see here, these are the ones that I added to the list. I can reorder them if I want to as well. And once I save that, when I click on the templates that I've added, I will now see this filter tagging section. So for each kind of attribute that I've set here that I want to filter on, I can tag that individual template with the appropriate values, right? So let's say I'm the contract signer, Gary is the rep. Let's do some language here. I think this is English language, currency, US dollar, okay? So now I've tagged this template. I've tagged a few others here as well. So let's say this one, you can see Spanish, pesos as the currency. And so let me save that. Okay. And when I launch that Doc Launcher config, I will now see these options on the left to be able to filter my templates by. And you can also get a quick glimpse of the various attributes here. You know, as I mentioned, you can see language and currency. We've got a nice little view details here as well that will give you the full list. If that template has a description, that document has a description on it, you can use that. You can use that as well. As you can see that here. Use this for when opportunities become customers. So I'll just show you real quick what this looks like. If I need to filter by English, hit apply here. So now I've got my filter templates, and I can go through Doc Launcher as I would. So this is a really nice feature. Again, if your account has a large number of templates, so we think this is going to be really helpful for your users. As some final thoughts here, I'll just say, one great way for you to be more involved in everything that we're developing is by joining SpringCM Labs. So I would point you to springcm.com/labs. So when you have an opportunity, we often reach out to our customers to get feedback on these crazy things we're working on. So we'd love for you to be a part of that. So I'm gonna ask Christy to come back here and read some questions that you guys have asked through this presentation.
All right, let's take some questions. So the first question that we have is, with the new navigation options for admins in this release, will you add attributes to the navigation panel?
Attributes to the navigation panel. I don't know if I understand that question. Attributes to navigation panel. I think I may need some further explanation on that.
Okay. So if you're the one that asked that question, can you give us a little bit more context about your question, and then we'll hopefully get to that back at the end. So the next question is, how can we assign permission sets to users?
Sure. That one I know. All right. So if you create a permission set here, let's just add a new permission set, and we'll just call this a workflow permission. I will assign workflow and automation, click save, and through the address book, on that full sub, let's take Amy here, there is a permission set drop down. So now I can just save that. And so Amy here now, when she logs in, she'll see the admin tab, and she will only see the relevant pages for that particular permission set. So it's really simple, easy configuration, and really puts you in control of who can see what.
Perfect. The next question is, can a user claim more than one task in one go?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go here. So I've got a couple managed users. I can go in and claim 2 tasks from them. So you'll see my tasks number here has increased.
All right. Will this update happen automatically, or will it require an update specific to the Salesforce connection? Also, will I need to reconfigure my Salesforce connections and settings?
No, so nothing that I've shown here should affect Salesforce connection in any way.
All right. So the next question is, in tasks, can we configure the columns that display? For instance, previously we were able to see and filter on created date, which helped my team prioritize. Yeah,
absolutely. So I actually created date, because there were so many dates. There's literally, like, I think 3 different dates: created, assigned, due date. So by default is off, but you can certainly add that here. You can actually then also reorder as needed. So only admins are able to define which columns are available on the grid and the order of those columns. So this will then apply to all the users on the account automatically when they see their tasks.
Is there an option to default where SpringCM opens? For instance, always open it to tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to admin again, Okay, so here's navigation and actions. So this is a great configuration page. So I had shown you some of the configuration around actions menu, but you can also configure pages, which are basically the equivalent, right? These tabs here at the top. So you can, if you just hover over this side, actually if you hover anywhere on the row, you're gonna see set home page. And you just click on that and save, and that becomes a new home page for the account. So I happen to do that for the account default, but in fact, you can actually create different default home pages for different persona. And actually, you can turn off certain tabs if you don't want certain users to see those tabs either. So there's a lot of control now in this one nice configuration screen, both for the for the entire navigation, essentially the pages that are visible, the actions menu. You can even configure help menu. I don't have anything here, but if you have a couple of help links, another thing that you might have noticed is the help is no longer on the page itself. So we moved all of the help menu stuff to the top here. You're gonna see on this page, so this gives you contextual help based on where you are. There's a couple of helpful resources, including some of these nice walkthroughs that we created for a lot of the new experiences that we're putting out, and any custom links would show up here as well. So a lot of nice configurations that you can do.
All right, so a few more questions. Can we create custom report folders to organize the reports?
Yeah, not yet, but I know that that's something that our team is working on. I'm not the product manager working on that, but I know that that's definitely one of the things at the top of the list there. And that's one of the reasons I know that the reports, the new reports experience is still in beta. Although to be honest, this is so much nicer than the old one. I would probably just turn it on anyways. So yeah, but I know we're gonna be adding capabilities to order reports in folders.
All right. Can the new template filters in Doc Launcher be fed by Salesforce data instead of manual user data?
Not yet, but that's another thing that we've got this sort of what I showed you was the first step towards this idea of filtering templates in a much kind of more intuitive way. But I know the next step after that will be taking in data from Salesforce and using that as input on the filtering of those templates. So that's definitely on our roadmap to do as well.
Okay. Does this release require SpringCM package upgrade? We are not using the latest one yet.
No, it shouldn't. So again, nothing package updates here are, I'm guessing, relating to your Salesforce package. So there shouldn't be any requirements around that.
All right, and the last question is, a recording of today's session available to share with me?
No, yes. Yes, we will have, I think we're gonna post this on the community. Yeah, we're gonna post it on the community page tomorrow. I'm sure Christy can follow up.
Yeah, you'll get an email of the recording tomorrow for attending this webinar. Okay.
So I got everything except the first question.
There's actually a couple more.
All right, let's do it.
So do the changes to reporting include the ability to run and export reports via the API?
Changes in reporting. No, so we haven't. No, so we haven't changed anything related to the API in there.
Okay, and the last one is, how does the previous user's inbox in tasks compare to my tasks? Will assigned tasks still await take ownership as they were?
Yeah, so nothing really changes in terms of how your users are dealing with tasks that are assigned to them. So it sounds like what you have is in your workflow configuration, tasks that require users to take ownership. That still would apply, and so that wouldn't change. Yeah.
right, I think that is all of our questions. Just to wrap up, we did want to remind all of you that we have recently launched our new community site, Momentum. So if you have not yet joined the community, please go ahead and do that. You can do that by clicking on this login button over here and choosing create account. And the community is going to be your one-stop shop for all of our technical documentation, knowledge, as well as discussions and groups that you can join. So if you have any questions about specific features, you can always come into the community and search. And there's a lot of information and content here that's going to help you find the answer to your question. Also wanted to show you that we have a product release group that's in the community. It's called Ready, Set, Release. And in this group, we are posting a lot of information about new features that are coming. We're posting our upcoming webinars for future releases, as well as release notes. So this is a great way to, again, stay more connected and updated on what's going on with our product releases as we continue to roll out new features. And as Gustavo mentioned earlier, we do have a beta group called SpringCM Labs, and you can access that directly in the community. So if you just click this link in the navigation here, it'll take you to the labs homepage where you can sign up to become a beta tester. And we're also posting in this release group opportunities in the future for beta testing. All right, so that is all we have today. Thanks for attending. Thanks to Gustavo for that great overview. And again, like we mentioned, we will be sending out a recording and it will be available in the community on the July release notes. So if you don't get the email or you just want to access the recording, you can always come in here and search for the July release notes, and we will post the video to the recording directly in this article. So as always, thanks for all of your help and your attention, and we hope to talk to you soon.